It's it's a dirty low down. And don't put your business in the street. So, let's talk about tithing. A friend of mine asked me what I thought about it. And when I was laying down to go to sleep last night, I thought, you know what? Why don't we just do a video on this? That'd be a good idea. You know, it's tough today. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. It's tough today because finances for a lot of people are tight. Everything's going up but the paycheck. The food, your taxes. And you got a bunch of people that don't want to work and want free handouts and call us all racist while we go to work to fund their ridiculous attitude against us. And now they're mad and threatening to kill whites, riot, loot, and steal. Our country should have dealt with this problem a long time ago instead of letting it go on and on and on and on. Thank you. I like this too. I think it's magenta. These usual suspects in America do not know God. Oh, they say God bless, but they don't know Him because we are not entitled anything but to suffer the wrath of God. Anything that is given us, including a job, including a house, including a bank account, including food on the table every day, is a gift of the holy God. And we think we're owed something. The Bible says if a man will not work, he will not eat. Conversely, when we do make money, we'll spend it on everything but God. We'll spend money on our little toys. We'll spend money on our music, on our $8 frappe latte, crappe, paducah pucka laka, tiki waka at Starbucks, and think nothing of it. We'll spend money on pets. Oh my gosh, my fur babies, my children. I ain't giving no money to church. So let me put it to you this way. God gives you 100% of Himself, stretched out His arms and died on the cross. Don't you think you owe Him something? Now, I know there's a stigma in America. You got rich, name it and claim it preachers living in 25,000 square foot mansions. For the love of God, do not go to those churches. That ain't church. Those are charlatans in suits and ties that are fleecing the flock of sheeple. Use your wisdom, people. Look at the man's bank account. Look at his houses. Look at his messages and run. Get out. The Bible talks about who thinks that godliness is a means to great gain. If you truly know God, we have riches in Christ that are not monetary. There's a movement that went around in the 80s. When you become a Christian, you get heaven and earth thrown in for free. No, you don't. You're on the Pilgrim's Progress road of suffering, buddy. You just get out of one trial, you get a little respite, and bam, here comes the hurricane. Did you see Jamaica? Oh my. Major damage. I mean, we had a category 2, and I remember what the wind sounded like. A 5? Entire tin roofs with their supports just, oh my. Water everywhere. Water deep, houses destroyed, thousands of people displaced. I mean, I'm not happy. Anybody who laughs at tragedy like that, you can't do that. Hello, Adonis. And here's the problem. We want to give on our terms. We do. There's something in human nature that when it comes to giving to God, we're kind of like, well, the preacher drives a nicer car tonight. He has a house. All the money in the church, all they're doing is asking for money. If you're at a church that's always asking for money, maybe it's time to go to a new church. Is tithing biblical? The Old Testament required 10%, but if you read about great offerings and all the different offerings, it would exceed that. The New Testament does not have a number on how much you're supposed to give. It says in the Bible, somebody can throw the verse up on the screen if you don't mind. Let each man in keeping, with his income set aside a portion on the first day of each week. Now, not everybody can tithe every Sunday. It depends on your pay schedule. You got to, go with the flow, what's going on. People got paid daily in that culture. And when you met together in church, you were supposed to set aside a portion and give it to God. But there's caveats. God loveth a cheerful giver. If you give begrudgingly, you might as well not give it. Are we thankful for what God has done? And I've met people that are just microscopic about this. Well, you got to tithe on the gross. So say I make $35,000 a year and the government takes $8,000 of that out. I got to tithe on the $8,000 I never got. It's not mine. It goes straight to the government. I worked $8,000 to give to Uncle Sam and the Democrats. Boy, does that not fire your butt up? That bothers me. You talk about waste. Hello, Fred Hinkle. The wet cornfields must be raining. Hello, Dan. We got the Midwest here. That's good. I used to live in Duluth, Minnesota, don't you know, a long time ago. So I've lived in the Midwest, I've lived in the Northwest, I've lived in the Southwest, I've lived out West, and now I'm in the Southeast. The only part of America I've not made it to personally is New England, Northeast. Don't know if I ever will. Utilities are ridiculously high, taxes are ridiculously high, and they're all bright blue like a blue light special. Democrat Kmart. Sad. The Democrats take over all the beautiful areas and ruin it. Ruin it. Shoot, I think everything surrounding the Great Lakes is blue. Sad. I love the Great Lakes. But, hello, Colette. How are you? Tithing is biblical. We get to the New Testament. What is God's requirement? That you give out of a cheerful heart. Tithes and offerings are not the same. We say we take the offering. The tithe is what you set apart for God continuously. An offering is what you give above that. Like, say, to missions, or the church needs a bus for the bus ministry, or whatever. Giving the pastor a birthday gift is not an offering. It's a birthday gift. Doesn't it say something, let each man set aside what he's purposed in his heart? Does it say that somewhere? That's good, Colette. Glad to hear it. Churches that harp on the issue, there's nothing wrong with a pastor giving a study of biblical giving. But if they harp and harp and harp, what is the pastor involved? Is he in the ministry or is he there trying to get money? So many YouTube channels. Hit the like and subscribe and give. Have you looked up the bottom line of some of these YouTube artists? I think you need to stop giving. They're doing very good financially. It's amazing. People throw money at the people who don't need it, and the people who don't need it, they don't want to open their hand. A weird thing. But I'm going to go a step further. Should you give money to homeless people standing on the corner, off the exits, off the freeway? No, you should not. Most of them are panhandlers by choice. Most of them, you offer a job, they don't want one. Most of them are drinking or using drugs, and that's why all the money doesn't go to rent and regular stuff. I see people out there with a dog, and they're out there every day. You got a dog, and you're homeless. Might want to get rid of the dog, bud. I'm not real keen on the homeless. They've become aggressive. They're all over the country. The Democrats encourage this because if you take every Democrat city in the United States, they're the worst at charging the highest rent. I thought the Democrats were all about socialism, but look at where they control. Highest rent, highest crime. Stupid. Yep, that happened to me too once. Hello, Robert. Pastors do get paid. They have to make a living. And the Bible talks about, I think it's in Timothy, it says, do not muzzle the ox that treads the grain. That we're supposed to take care of our pastors in the church. Now, churches in America have gotten really soft. Now we have worship pastors. Are those needed? No. Worship pastors that play the same repetitive music over and over, making 50, 60,000. Go get a job. Those that preach the word, visit the shut-ins, do the counseling in the ministry of the church, should be taken care of. And it says that. It says that. I need to find it. I believe it's in 1st or 2nd Timothy. But these millionaire preachers, I would get out of those churches, folks. I would get out of those churches. They got their priorities wrong. See, somebody wrote a comment yesterday about my take on EBT, saying there's widows and seniors that can't afford food. Do you know that's the job of a church? Gerald, how are you? Gerald, a lot of people are tight-fisted. A lot of people have their reasons for it. And I'm not here to tell everybody what to do. I'm just telling you what the word says. You know, it's funny. When it talks about taking care of the widows, refuse to put younger widows on the list for when they feel sensual desires in disregard of Christ, they want to get married, thus incurring condemnation because of the set aside their previous pledge. And at the same time, they also learn to be idle, and they go from house to house, and not merely idle, but also gossips and busybodies, talking about things not proper to mention. Man, do you see that with the project mentality? Women sitting around, BSing, having kids, gossiping, smoking dope. I don't feel bad that Trump is cutting that off. And I was told that Obamacare is set to come to an end in 2025. Praise God, hallelujah. Maybe now the insurance rates will go down so we can afford health insurance again. Just saying. Our government is not the sugar daddy of these malcontents that are always screaming racism. These people are a problem. And they need to get saved, and they need to read the word. If a man will not work, he will not eat. That's it. That's it. It talks about women. Likewise, I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing, modestly and discreetly, and not with braided hair and gold or pearls or costly garments. You know, Nikki brought up a good point yesterday. These women will go and get their hair and nails done, and they're screaming that they don't have EBT. Did you see the black girl on one of the black guys' YouTube channels saying, we want steak and lobster too? Well, go get a job and go buy it. I don't know. Y'all think that's reparations? Read about Cabrini Green in Chicago. You want to read about a horror story? Read about that. Making a nation of freeloaders is counterproductive. The cops are always in the projects. Always. Let a woman quietly receive instruction with entire submissiveness, but I do not allow a woman to teach or exercise authority over man, but to remain quiet. For it was Adam who was first created, and then Eve. And it was not Adam who was deceived, but the woman being deceived fell into transgression. But women shall be preserved through the bearing of children if they continue in faith and love and sanctity with self-restraint. I'm sorry, but most women in America don't follow any of that at all. Any of it. And I don't care if women get offended. That's a fact. Women today, I tell you what, I had to tell somebody at work yesterday, I need you to be aware and mindful that if management sees you on your phone, okay, well, thank you. I said, and I joked her, I said, so you're just going to do your own thing or you're going to put it away? This young generation has no sense of self-awareness. Yeah. And, this is life today. The momentary fleeting interest I had in somebody the day before totally spin cycled right out the next day. You have to spend time with people. Day one, things look pretty good. Day two, I don't think this is going to work. All day she's going, man, I just want to go home. And I said, are you sure this is a fit for you? And then I was doing some stuff and I said, I need your help. Can you finish this? What do you mean? I said, you gotta pack the stuff. You can't have that stuff moving around in the box. Yep, already now it's becoming babysitting. And today I'm going to be done with that. Say, hey, boss, I'm going to let you handle this. Young people today have no concept of you come to work, you put in 8 hours, then you go home. Hello, Leda. How are you? I'm all right. And thank you, Colette. The government does not owe a bunch of bums EBT cards. And I'm tired of these overweight, obese women popping out babies, living on the system, and then saying, oh, y'all's racist and privileged. No, you're privileged. You get to sit on your butt and gossip and watch Jerry Springer, and I'm supposed to go to work and my taxes pay for your sorry buns. I don't think so. So you go rob and steal and watch what happens. FAO or FAFO. Fook around and find out. You go to the wrong house or the wrong business, you're liable to get plugged, and it would serve you right. One of my moderators had a phone call with him before bedtime last night and told me about a young guy that parks next to him, and he's on his break at work in his truck calling his wife, and he got a Honda and he was blasting the bass so loud. And he said, hey, can you turn that shit down? I can't hear. And the guy laughed and didn't change it up, cranked it even louder. Disrespectful young white guy. And then he parked across from him and turned it loud and would jeer at him when he's sitting in his truck. And then suddenly the kid was out there jeering and he heard something, turned around, he walked to the back of his car, threw his hands up, and he saw a look of, oh my gosh, and he got out of his truck and he said, what happened? He blew out the back window of his car. He said, well, that's what you get, Carmen. He goes, oh, not now. He goes, I asked you to turn it down. You thought it was funny. Now you got to buy a new window. We got a young, disrespectful generation. I had to tell this young lady yesterday, I said, did you call me a mother effer? Well, yeah, I'm just kidding. I said, no, we don't do that. I asked her, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Because she looks alternative. Why would you have me have a boyfriend? Of course, I got a shorty. I ain't dating no boys. I said, man, I have to be careful because I can't ask you anything. The day before, she was telling me she's tired of people getting butthurt over everything, and then she's getting butthurt. I thought, this is a live one. We're going to lose this one real quick. The boss comes back today. I'm going to say, hey, maybe you had a cross trainer on some other things. I think she's getting bored over here. That's how I'm going to put it. You know, I'm going to tell you something, man. Weemon to be single. What's Weemon? Oh, I got you, Heath. Yes. Yes. Yep. Man, I'm getting a good diet of kiwi today, folks. Where's the cantaloupe, the melons, and the honeydew? And the mango. Who had to find a friend to anonymously donate $130 billion to fund the military? Who did that? Giving to God is biblical. I think the New Testament leaves it open that we need to do what God leads us to do. And if we're doing it begrudgingly, we better check our attitude. The problem is, and I'm guilty of this too. Well, God, I work hard for my check. The government taxed the hell out of it. Now I got to give to the church. And sometimes I struggle. And then I look back at God's faithfulness. I don't do exact 10%. I do a ballpark. So say I get 50 bucks, I tithe 5. Generally speaking, I don't break it down to cents. Some people get minutia over that. That's legalism. That's braggadocio, and it needs to stop. I don't hem and haw over number. Bottom line is, are you thankful for what Christ did on the cross for you? You're thankful for God's daily provision. And if we're honest in America, He's given us more than we need. We get to buy a lot of our greeds that are not necessarily needs. And can we give? Should we? Yes. I believe in the proclamation of the gospel, and that's how I look at it. Taxpayer money funds education, and what are these kids getting into school? The pastor who's faithfully declaring the word of God, visiting shut-ins, doing counseling to married couples, single people, and trying to get them on the narrow road. Yeah, we should take care of our pastor and his wife. The church has bills and utilities. The church in America used to be the place for community and stuff. Now that's dissipating. People are more interested in community on their phone than they are at church because people we're circling the drain. But I still believe people need to find a Bible preaching, teaching church and give and listen to God. Should you give 10%? I'll say what preachers say. It's a good starting point. Okay? But people need to get down on their knees and say, God, what do you want me to do? And it's none of mine or anybody else's business how much you give or don't give. That's a stay in your lane issue. And people who brag about how much they give and how much 10% is okay. You got your pat on the back now. And what did Jesus have to say? You got your reward now. Thank you, Ever. Hi, doggy. How are you? What is that? Snoopy? No, it's a cat in a box. I was up earlier, Cheryl. Cheryl, welcome back. I missed you. I mean that. I believe, and you know, now I'm trying to find it where it says. Here's something we need to listen to. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. Remember, the love of, not having money, the love of is the root of evil. I hear people saying, oh, money's the root of all evil. The love, stop taking away from the word of God. Putting money above God, making an idol out of it is the problem. And some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many a pang. But flee from these things, you man of God, and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. Okay, we need to find where is it? When I want to find it, I cannot. Oh, here we go. 1 Timothy chapter 5, starting with 17. Let the elders who rule well be considered worthy of double honor, especially those who work hard at preaching and teaching. For the scripture says, you shall not muzzle the ox while he is threshing, and the laborer is worthy of his wages. A pastor is working. He's worthy of the wages. That does not mean 25,000 square foot mansions and a millionaire lifestyle. But we need to support the pastor. Okay, that is biblical. Listen to this. Do not receive an accusation against an elder except on the basis of 2 or 3 witnesses. These young people today running their mouth at my age and old people, that's not okay. But at lunchtime, they played a sermon because the pastor was not. They didn't have a pastor come in yesterday. And a black man talking about the need for forgiveness. And if Christ forgave us, who are we to hold something against somebody? The love of money, yeah, greed. But can I be honest? I'm and all of us are guilty of it to a degree. How many times we said, "Oh, if I had $1 million, why don't you start asking if I had Jesus Christ in my life?" Do we do that? Do we stop and go, "I don't need $1 million, I have Jesus"? And I don't mean some super, what is the word we're looking for? Esoteric experience with God. But are we really content to have God? Do we take it for granted that we have salvation? Yeah, and I don't consider myself a preacher, Cheryl, but thank you for that. We need to hear the truth. Some people told me to get more out of this than they've ever gotten out of a church. That's messed up. The pastor should be on fire for God and be preaching in a way that draws people in. They provide free lunch on Wednesday. Yesterday, I think it was Chick-fil-A. I can't eat most of it. I brought my own lunch, but I show up. And I remember Pastor, I said on years ago, at the end of the sermon, he says, now don't let this just wash out of you as you go about your week. You know, I work with people, they go in there, they eat because they get the free food, they listen, and it washes right out. You can tell who's of the world. You can tell. You can tell. We're not perfect as Christians, but if you don't have a hunger and thirst for God, if you're unwilling to let go of any of your income and give back to God, you got a heart problem. You've got a heart problem. But for somebody to get up in your face and say, you better give 10%, 15%, 20%, and then you got to give it up. Teach what the word says and let God work on the soul. Money is personal business. But open up your checkbook. What ledgers have you made in there? Shotgun Willie's, Titty Bar, Hooters, Cabaret. I don't got time to give money to God. Oh, but you got time for the strip clubs and you threw money at all that and you can't even have that woman. What a waste. You paid for somebody to drop their shirt and you can't take her home. You're stupid. At least if you go on a date, she might drop her shirt for you. No, we as Christians shouldn't be doing that. I'm just saying. If you're going to pay money, at least get your money's worth, right? The fact is, where is our heart? If we're reluctant to give anything and yield it to God, boy, that says something about us. We don't want to submit to Him. But we'll spend $8 a day on Starbucks. You can't give something to God. I hear quarters hit the offering plate. I always laugh. Why doesn't people drop change in there? I mean, that's almost an insult. We're not talking about the widow's mite here. We're talking about Americans. They'll throw in some quarters and they'll give some quarters to their kids. There was a story about a $100 bill, a 20, and a 1. And they were all having a discussion. And I was saying, where have you been, the $100 bill? Oh, I've been to hotels, fine restaurants, airplanes. The 20, I've been to the grocery store, laundromat, fast food. Back in the day, Blockbusters. They all looked at the dollar. Dollar said offering plate, offering plate, offering plate. It's true. We're cheap and we think we're doing God a favor. Man, just forget it. Just forget it. God loves a cheerful giver. You're giving because you want to make a show. Your pastor's worth 25 cents, huh? Why are you going to church every day and you got your kids all involved in the programs and everything? Man, look at it this way. How much would you pay for Planet Fitness? How much would you pay for a club membership or a spa? And you can't give back to God. God is giving you your daily bread. Seek ye first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. No, not planes, trains, and automobiles, but He'll promise to meet your needs. And you can't give something to Him? That's bad. That's bad. Well, I agree, Cheryl, but if they're millionaires, I'm going to put a red check on that and say, nope. I'd rather go to a small church pastor who's doing the work of God instead of writing books and jet setting around the country like Wallet-Driven Purpose. What was his dang name? No, I can't even remember. Purpose-Driven Life. What's his name? Now I'm drawing a blank. My mind is starting to fail, folks. Rick Warren. No. These people, no. Stop giving your money to them. Stop buying their stuff. Find a church where the pastor is ethical and above reproach, handling money. It says that. Says that. Says that right here. It is a trustworthy statement. If any man aspires to the office of overseer, it is a fine work he desires to do. An overseer then must be above reproach, the husband of one wife. Do you know what that means? Can't be divorced and remarried. People don't like to hear that, but that is what it says. Temperate, prudent, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not addicted to wine or pugnacious, but gentle, uncontentious, free from the love of money. Hello, Creflo Dollar, Benny Hinn, and Joyce Myers, and all the others out there, and Joel Osteen. Clowns. Go get a job. Stop pimping the church. What book and verse? 1 Timothy chapter 3, starting with verse 1. The qualifications for overseers and deacons. An overseer is a pastor. And please note, they're not to be females. The pronoun he is used, since we want to get into pronouns today. The husband of one wife. It doesn't say the wife of one husband. It doesn't say she. And it says he must be one who manages his own household while keeping his children under control with all dignity. But if a man does not know how to manage his own household, how will he take care of the church of God? And not a new convert, lest he become conceited and fall into the condemnation incurred by the devil. And he must have a good reputation with those outside the church, so that these women that are calling themselves pastors, are in direct disobedience to the word of God. They are rebellious, and that is a form of witchcraft. Look it up in the Old Testament if you doubt me. Women have a place, men have a place, and women hate that word. Folks, I have a place under God. Women are also under God. Women in a marriage are under headship of a husband, under God. A single woman is under God. And no, they should not be our bosses. But this is America. We have a lot of godlessness, and we live in a secular world. If you have a boss that's a female, do your job. That's it. Do your job. Don't get into it with her. Don't try to get close to her. Do your job. What's 67? Stop doing that. All right, you're out. 24-hour timeout for blasting the room. Bye, Kai. Man, you made a point once. We don't need to repeat, and repeat. That's what kids do. We're not children in here. Well, we're children of God, some of us, but stop. Oh, look, Kai, we timed him out, blocked the message, hid the message. Oh, yeah, what's 67 mean? Trigger finger doggy. Well, I did it too. I timed him out for 24 hours, and then doggy, that's good though. Hey. And a moderator said, I hope you don't think I'm doing. I said, I don't question my moderators. They're using prudence, and I'm good with that. I'm not here to babysit them unless they're complaints. They're there, and I trust that they'll execute the duties of their wanting to be that and do it right. I remember in the beginning people said, "Oh, your moderators just ban everybody," and I don't see that. People that are being twats, yes, they don't belong in the chat because they're not chatting. 6-7 is just literally means nothing. Ireland, the last I checked, they had some protests about an African person raping a child. Yeah, illegal immigration, letting all these people in is not working anywhere in the world, and it needs to stop. What people need to look at is they're sitting there feeling sorry for the people leaving their country. Go tell that government, get it together, or we'll invade and put in a makeshift government that people don't want to leave your country. Mexico. I'm so sick of all this. We got to be sensitive to the Mexicans. I tell you what, if I was president, they wouldn't like me. I tell the Mexican government, you better get it together or we're going to invade. You're costing us billions of dollars with these clowns trying to come to our country. Change your ways and make your country a country that nobody wants to leave. I'm sorry. I'm tired of it. People leave these crappy countries and they want to bring their crappy behavior over here. Taking a man out of the ghetto does not make him a good man. We've seen this over and over and over. They bring their BS to that place and infect it with their toxic pus. You have to be transformed by the blood of Jesus Christ. Only God can take the ghetto out of any of us. And we're all a ghetto. We're a spiritual ghetto. We're sinners. Every man, woman, and child today is a ghetto unless God saves us. How's that for a sermonette? I need some cheese. Cheese, baby. I think yesterday's video was absolute fun, don't you? I enjoyed that. I like it when God sets me on fire because it just happens. I like it when the Holy Spirit just takes over and I get that, like Sandy said, that fire in the bones thing. This country needs to get rid of the debt. They need to cut these wasteful programs. And after they do that, they need to lower our damn taxes. Because the government's been taking in too much and blowing it out their butt cheeks. And that's wrong. Joe Biden and the Democrats want to give illegals Medicaid. Are they out of their damn minds? You're an illegal. You don't deserve anything here. Oh my gosh. That's basic common sense. There are rights that are afforded to citizens and only should be. Our vets are treated worse than illegals. Thank you, Cheryl. Hello, Snapshot. They should take away EBT. I remember when Robin was alive, she called me up and told me she was getting $800 a month. For her and her granddaughter, she goes, Michael, that's too much. You know, you can go buy $100 worth of groceries and give me $25. I said, no, ma'am. Why not, Michael? I'm saving you money. I said, that's for you. I'm not doing that. It's stealing. Michael, we do it all the time. I said, I know you do, but I don't feel right about that. It's funny how a lot of these black people claim to be a Christian, but they have no problem with that kind of stuff. And then she went to the liquor store down here that allows people to use your EBT to buy cigarettes and alcohol. That's a fact. I wish the feds would do a run on that store and shut it down. Nobody needs their liquor and cigarettes. Sorry. Nobody needs their liquor and their cigarettes. And why do they put those in the po neighborhoods? Zoning is a mess. You ever see a liquor store in the Mansion area? Never. They always put them down where all the blacks are, the down and out, the bad neighborhoods. Man, he put me in charge of this country and say all them liquor stores are coming out of there. That's what keeps the black man down. Go get another drink. I'm going to say it like it is. Enough of that. Make it harder for them to get their stuff. Yeah, Colette, well, that's the Democrats for you. But Republicans are to blame. I still have not seen any effort by the Republicans to put term limits on the House and the Senate. You got old turtles in there. Turtles. Turkey necks. I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. I am in no way disrespecting old people. But there comes a point when you're too geriatric to run the country and it's time to give it up. It's time to put your hat on the hat rack and call it a day. Pelosi too. They need to go. I like that Aussie mouth harp thing. That thing is cool. The mouth harp, yes. Yesterday, I did not feel good training this young lady because I saw how polar opposite we are. She does not embody any of me and what I'm interested in. I thought, can you imagine having this chick in your house? She admitted she had a felon. She admitted that she doesn't get along with her father. I said, well, why'd you leave Houston? She came here because she wants to get in the military, need to clear the felon off the record. Don't know what she got it for. She said they got 20 Ameripits. They're not to be confused with pit bulls. They're the real deal. So you got 20 dogs in your yard. Oh my gosh. She was joking somewhat inappropriate. I said, hey, you know what? You got to stop. And the day before, when I said, you look like Brittany Griner, she said, everybody tells me that. Yesterday, she said, I was going to ask if you're racist and homophobe when you said you compare me. I said, are you really going to do that to me, ma'am? I said, you told me your dad, and everybody tells you that. That wasn't an insult. I said, and I'm not homophobe and I'm not racist. I said, do not go there. Man, I was just kidding. I said, we don't kid about that. I'm already uncomfortable. This is a problem, chick. And this is what's happening in America. I don't need this shit. I don't need to be with these young girls that are woke, broke, and bloat. I tell you what, these young people concern me. Day one, I think she's kind of cute in a tomboy sort of way. The next day, I'm going, oh, hell nah. I tell you what, folks, it's a wake-up call out there. There's a Grand Canyon shift between Cheryl and us older people in this younger set. It's scary. When I was a kid, I looked up to my aunts and uncles. They weren't weird and out there to us. Today, there's a major gaparoo. Oh, yes, 77 Titanic 77. If I got that right. Let me look at my little black book. I know I wrote it in there somewhere. Man, this is old. I kept replacing this when it got old. This first style address book was brought to me by Matt Coleman. He died a couple of years ago. The only friend I had in Mammoth when I left town. And he said, I wrote my address in here so you don't forget to keep in touch. He became a truck driver. He was on the football team. He became a truck driver. Yep, 77 Titanic 77. And for those of you that feel so inclined, cash tag Pacific Ocean Asia 77 is where you can donate. For people criticizing my attire, please feel free to donate to my interesting wardrobe. Please donate to my attempt to buy a 5-ton truck. Please donate to attempt to move me to another country. Please donate to attempt for me to finally finish my remodel. Please donate to attempt so I don't have to work again in my life. Ha ha, he he. They're coming to take me away. If you feel so inclined, donate. If you don't, I'm not going to kick you out. You know, even Benny Johnson now, I see you have to be a member to comment. Or you can leave a comment, but it's all members and charging memberships and marketing himself. And there's a disgust with that. There's a disgust. I'm for sale. Really? I'm not for sale because I'm called by God to be Michael Nelson. And if people can benefit from that and get closer to God, then use it. It's not a price. People that are harping on money all the time, you got to ask, what are they in this for? You can tell the difference, men and ladies, when you go into a business, who got a job and who loves what they do. You can see it in clerks. You ever come up to a clerk, ladies and men or women? Hey, how you doing today? Did you find everything you need? You can tell they're good at it. Then you get the moody little rest me biatch face girl. Doesn't speak to you, doesn't look at you, doesn't count the money back. Yep, she just got a job. She hates what she does. When you're called by God, do it. Trust God with the rest. Are you in it for money? I want my MTV and the checks for free. A lot of people get on YouTube simply with the motive to make money. In the original days, I did not. I got on there thinking, hey, this is cool. Boy, did I get laughed at. until I went to Hong Kong. And then people were like, dude, this guy went to Hong Kong. What the hell? And they're watching my videos and they're like, wow, he banged it out. I did a video, Western women are destroying themselves, 20,000 views. I said, Chinese are rude in Hong Kong, 100,000 views, 1,000 a week. That thing was blowing up. Then I came back to Colorado and got stuck on just stupid. And things have changed now. Now we're hitting it on all 8 cylinders. Pacific Ocean Asia needed to die, and it did. Now it's Michael Nelson. There's a good friend of mine, still listens to me. We still talk. To this day, he calls me Pacific, and I love it. That will always be my nickname. He's never called me Michael. He only knows me by Pacific, and I know him by Anthony. He lived in China teaching English for 6 years. He discovered my channel, and he said, oh my gosh, I can talk about James in Montana. He discovered my channel. He said, man, I thought I was the only one seeing this stuff. There's somebody else out there. And now I'm encouraged because since I started the channel after Helene, it's funny. I have to say this. You guys will love this. Hey, dirty old man. Yep, absolutely. Snapshot. And at first I thought she was kind of cute in a tomboy way. Yesterday, she told me something very profound. I said, what's going on here, gal? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, yesterday you seemed pretty. She goes, well, of course, when I come in, the first day. But she said, I'm just going to start being my fucking self. I said, well, that's all well and good, but if you're standing around on your phone, your effing self's going to be out of a job. I didn't say it that way, but I was joking, and I tried to do it with brevity because I'm sorry, with this generation, you have to step around on eggshells. And the last thing I want to do is get called in the office at a new job for bullshit. Stupid. But I'll make a comment to the boss because he'll be back in. How's it going? To say, you know what? I think she needs something a little more high energy. How about if you cross train her on something that keeps her going? She's not handling. We had some low time, and I had to kind of tell her, get off the phone. I won't even mention. I'll just say I think that she needs to be in something a little more high geared. You got a place you can use her that's a little more go, go, go and busy. I think that's better for the other guy and I. We got this. We got the packing. We got the pulling. We got it. We don't need a third gear here. Yesterday was dead on orders, and because we had a third wheel in there was a lot of slack time, and so I started pulling stuff off pallets and saying, we're going to find the part, we're going to find out what this is, we're going to find the NIN, and we're going to turn it into a number with a decimal point, and then we're going to find a location in the system, and if it's not in there, then we go to this guy, and he tells us where we can, insert that part. It's a process. Because we do receive. We get a couple semi-truck loads a week of stuff. I did, doggy, because it was blowing me away. Yeah, you go all the way back to my first shorts. And I have one out there where the power was flickering on and off, and then I saw the arc and the spark over by the highway, and I said, well, there it goes. Bye-bye, birdie. I'm standing on my front porch, and you're just like, wow. I watched some footage of Jamaica. And I got to tell you, even though they've got some godless, crazy stuff down there, it's hard to look at that. They're trashed. I mean, the houses, the roof's blown completely off. A Category 5 hitting an island like that with Banana Republic buildings, yeah, it's a train crash. And it's a mess. Standing water deep, buildings blown over, knocked over, windows broken, vehicles flooded out. I mean, it's thousands displaced. And that'll become the burden of everybody else. The party hardy culture where all the tourists go, everybody else has got to pay to bring them back up to speed. And I said this yesterday. If America was down on all 8 cylinders, who's there to help us? And Colette said, well, you're the richest nation. Yeah, but is that a flaw? Is that a flaw? Why are we the richest nation? Needs to be asked, doesn't it? Because we created a system that worked. We believed in free enterprise. We believed in a republic. Democrats are systematically termiting the hell out of this thing. And all of a sudden, that young lady's beauty starts to fade when I see the inner core. She's obviously not into men. And I want to say something. I have my struggle with eroticism, but there are lesbians out there that are man haters. Doesn't get along with her father. And she's trying to be a boy. Now, I got a problem with that. A little tomboy and a girl, sexy. But when you're trying to be a man and then she grabs big old metal shaft and she goes, here, do this. I said, what, are you turning this into Nautilus? She goes, well, we got some downtime. I said, yeah, but don't let them see in you barbell a dang drive shaft, okay? I'm trying to tell her, there's appropriate. She goes, can you? I said, yeah, I can do it. She goes, you're swinging your body. I said, because it's heavy. I'm not doing it on purpose. I said, you think you're stronger than me? Is that what it's all about? I said, girl, let's run a race. You're going into basic training, right? So what, are you going to run a mile? She goes, 2 miles. I said, well, you better get it together. I said, can you beat me? She goes, no, I can't beat you. I said, why not? I'm 60, you're 23. You should whoop me. And I kid with her appropriately, but I said, she's trying to outman me. She has some good stuff, but she's clearly been led like a ring in a bull's nose by this woke crap. I really don't want to work close with somebody into that. And I said, God, can you help me retool? Because this is going to get old real fast. So today, I'm more like game face. Morning. Today, we're going to go ahead and do this and that. I'm going to put you on this. I'm going to find a way to keep her busy. That way, out of sight, out of mind. Good grief, people. We're co-workers is it. I was kind of asked to oversee the training. She's got it. But there's some other areas where I think she'd be better suited to keep her busy so that she doesn't have time to stand around and play with her phone. Hello, B. Brand new as of yesterday. There's a massive generational gap. And I've said I would date somebody young. I'm really glad I had that experience. That just reminded me, no, Michael, no. No. Hello, Dia. How are you? B. How is B? Bzzz. Revival, possibly. As well as public education and the Democrat left. They're just eroding everything. Everything. Yes, Chris. I would date somebody younger than me. I don't have age hangups. But when I see that, can you imagine her in your house? And then she's singing whatever she's got on her headset. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to hear that in my house. Oh, gosh, Chris, we're not going to answer that. We're done. We're here to talk about the subject. If you're not interested, you could kindly exit to the left. We're not going to talk about my clothing anymore. Too bad I don't have a pizza. Yeah, she went out yesterday and bought 2 pizzas at lunch. I said, 2? She goes, yeah, I ate 1 for lunch. I said, the whole thing? I said, was it a personal pan? She goes, no, dog, it's a big one. Said, you ate whole pizza and you say you have no metabolism. You're skinnier than me. You have a metabolism. No, I don't. I have to work hard at it. I said, man, you lie. She started laughing. She goes, well, I didn't finish the whole thing, but I got another one for dinner tonight. I said, wow, cold reheated pizza. Awesome. I know how to get along with people and get through the day, but they're just an assault to me. They're like bulldozers that generate. They don't like our music. They don't like our ways, and they're going to just dominate whenever they come in. It's like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not. And that's what's happening with these refugees and people coming over here. They want to bulldoze everybody out of the way and bring in their toxic crap culture. No, you assimilator, get out. I'm getting tired of our culture being knocked. I'm not buying your sister's pants, dude. No thanks. I bought somebody's sister's pants. I'll do a whole YouTube series on that. I bought Chris's sister's bra. You know, there's guys that like buying panties. My ex-wife allowed a young guy to rent in her basement. He seemed like a good guy. There were problems. She had to kick him out. Her jewelry went missing. I found out he took it and pawned it. Called the police on him. Police came and arrested him. And I said, you better check the stuff downstairs before you give it to his sister for pickup. She went through a suitcase and found all her bras and panties in there. I said, really? I said, you really know how to pick good people to live in your house, X. Michael, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I said, well, stop doing it. Aren't you glad I told you? You would have just had to go to Victoria's Secret and drop a wad. Guys like sniffing panties. Can I tell you something, ladies? I don't want to smell your underwear, and I don't want you smelling mine. People that panty sniff are gross. That's nasty. I don't want to smell no woman's cooch. I don't. I mean, what is wrong with people? I don't want to smell that. I'm very sensual, sexual, but sniffing somebody's butt or their underwear where it's been, no. Nasty. Gross. Victoria's Secret is a ripoff. I don't care how pretty a woman is. I don't want to smell her panties. No thanks. Yeah, Victoria's Secret had a nice little catalog when I was younger that I liked looking at on the toilet. Right there with the old JCPenney catalogs. Just a woman in a negligee was the only porn we needed. Oh my, and once in a while you got lucky and you could see the dark circles underneath and you're like, woo! My mom said she was checking the mail one day and I was in middle school and she goes, well, I don't need this. I said, what is that? She goes, that's ladies' lingerie. I said, Mom, can I see that? She goes, no. As soon as she turned her back, I pulled it out of the trash. Oh, yeah, baby. Soft porn, man. Well, Nikki, I agree with that. But in fairness, I have not done oral on most of the women I've been with because I'd rather not. I've learned something about me. When I'm really into a woman, when I'm really into her, I lose it all. Most women, they might be cute, but I don't want to go down on them. It means I'm not totally head over heels for it. I learned that after living overseas. I learned that. Some women, even though they're clean, they still have odors, and I just don't like them. I'm very sensitive to smell. I don't like cigarette, BO, toilet smells, all that. Cat piss. Oh my gosh, I hate cat piss, cat poop, dog mess. I hate all that. Dog mess has a special kind of stank. You ever pulled apart a grilled cheese? What? What kind of a question is that? You ever pulled apart a grilled cheese? Oh my gosh, the things you see in chat. I was thinking when I was putting my shoes on to go to work yesterday, I remember being in the Yahoo chat room and somebody had typed, "Women have hoofed feet." Women have hoofed feet. I got on the mic, I said, "Women have hoofed feet." Yes, they do. I said, "Yeah, if you're a sheep." "No, women have hoofed feet." I said, "How do you know?" I looked. I said, "Oh my gosh." The strangest things are said in chat. I love the boom boom. Hoofed feet, yes. Gotta pass the sniff test. No, I'm being honest. Women got their preferences, so do I. I don't want to smell body odor, butt, or cooch, or bad, nasty dragon breath. Gross. It's a cockblogger. Period. That's why I live alone. When I bought this house, it stunk. Took me a while to get it out. But tearing up walls and tearing everything out, tearing out the carpeting and police mopping the floors, yeah, that worked. And you know who lived here for years? Women, black women. Sorry, but some of them are the worst housekeepers in the planet. Go around Augusta. Look at the tarps over the roof. They got the nice Cadillac, got the $300 hairdo. I rode the bus and drove the bus. You ought to see some of these kids that they bring out. Disheveled, smelling. Mom got a $300 hairdo and got the nice pimp me ride. You open the front door of the house, 3 feet of trash. The walls got black marks all over the paint. I'm not making this shit up, dude. This culture out here is really in a state of decay. And then they got this attitude that I'm not worthy of them. I'm like, really? Wow. You got an Amazon jungle under your armpits and odors to boot. And then you're looking at me like, "I don't like no white boy." Well, honey, that's okay by me because I don't like that mess. You're nothing but a liability for any man, black, white, or anybody. And guys will chase that to eat dinner at the Y. My question is, why? There's just some dinners you don't eat. There's just some diners you don't frequent. And there's just some legs you don't open and put your face down in there. Or your thingy. That's it. And we got to go back to something. If we just listen to God, we could avoid a lot of heartache. But no, we follow our heart and get into trouble every single time. We don't like to admit this, but a man was made for one coochie, and a woman was made for one hot dog. And that hot dog only belongs in one bun. Not the rear, but the front. Using a play on words. Bear with me, people. Work with me. But we have premarital sex, extramarital sex, and we jump from bed to bed, and we think it's okay, and we've gotten comfortable with it, shacking up. And you know what? We have to stop. The Bible says there must not even be a hint of sexual immorality among you. Well, it's more than a hint. We got a problem in this country. We become comfortable with it. You, all of us. Come on, guys. How many dates you been on? Hands are up underneath all. Boy, does that feel good. Sometimes I wish I had my own breasts so I could amuse myself. We need help. We need God. We're rebellious. We've got our strong will, and we've allowed our strong will to dictate our theology. Very dangerous ground, folks. This is it. Not our feelings, not our strong will. Hi, Pikachu. Pikachu, look, I got to show you something. I thought of you the other day. Pikachu. Where is it? Look, Peek. Look. Check it out. Isn't that awesome? I found that on a bus that I was working on in the summer. It was on the floor. I'm like, wow, that's pretty clean. I kind of sniffed it. I thought, I'll wash that. It doesn't stink. This thing's brand new. I don't even think it's been worn and washed up good. And I'm not into, Pokemon like some are, but it's a nice hoodie, man. And I wore it the other day because it was cold. Pika, Pika. You know what? We need to pull this out of here and let this. It's too damn cold in here. Furnace hasn't kicked on. The house is standing right at 69. We've had no sun for a couple days, and I thought the heater would be going on, but it isn't. It's just staying right there. Yeah, snapshot, and it's a problem. I spoke with an older man who is beyond, said he struggles with the phone. He said it's so easy to look at that stuff. Cheryl, I used to be so into that cold. Why are you biting your tongue? What did you do, Colette? What are you doing? You don't bite your tongue. Are you keeping from saying something? Are you ready to launch at me, Cheryl or Colette? Are you mad at me? A woman's hormones produce more stink than a man. Oh, okay. I know where Colette's coming from. How many hot dogs have you sniffed? I hope the answer is 0 for snapshot's sake. Snapshot, how many hot dogs have you sniffed? We need to talk about this, though. Scratching my balls. Snapshot, please tell me you didn't go like this and then go, did you really do that? Sheesh. Look, there's people I've worked with throughout the years. Some men don't ever shower. I had a roommate in Arizona. He didn't shower at all. He never smelled like body odor or anything like that. He's just dirty all the time. I said, Mark, you ever take a bath? No, I don't take no bath. I said, well, dude, I bought this couch at Salvation Army. It's one of those low back plaid couches from the 70s. That thing was awesome. It was 10 feet long, and Mark lived on the couch. That was his bed because it was a 1-bedroom apartment. He had the living room, I had my bedroom. And he's sitting in the same place watching TV, and I said, Mark, go get that Fantastic and spray the wall. What do you mean? I said, turn around and look. He gave me this crap-eating grin. He goes, wow, that is pretty dirty. I said, yeah, it's all the... I said, you don't bathe and you got grease all over your head. We were the odd couple. I mean, he was harmless. Then one day he took apart his motorcycle on the living room floor, and I said, that's it. That's it. No more. I said, you getting grease on the rug? Man, no. Mark was an oddball. I don't even know what happened to him. He was a different duckaroo. Then I had another roommate named Steve. That didn't work out, but a couple months, he kept getting in all my stuff. I said, dude, you don't bring your friends over and use my china for that. Somebody had given me a nice china set. And I said, you do not use that for you and your beer drinking buddies. And I had a nice Kenwood system, and I said, don't touch my stereo. So I moved it into my bedroom. Finally, I said, this ain't going to work, dude. Either I'm going to leave or you're going to leave. He goes, well, I can't afford this place, so you can have it. Then I got the apartment managing job and they knocked $100 off. It was a penthouse, third floor apartment in downtown Prescott. You may not think it's much, but that was a cool digs back in the day. Had big picture windows overlooking downtown and Thumb Butte. And I had the wrought iron railings I could lean against. That place was cool beans. I had to walk up 3 flights of steep stairs. The Hacienda Apartments, downtown Prescott. You had a view of all the antique stores. What an awesome place. Now, on a positive note, I know women who smell very good, and that is such a turn on. Their hair is all clean and conditioned, and they smell good. I will lose myself on their body. When they're clean and smooth and smell good, I'm done. You might as well just put a fork in it because I'm done. I'm all over that girl. I like that. And women like it too. They don't like all this bristle stubble jawing into their jaw and their breasts. It hurts. And nobody wants to do stankosaurus. Man comes home from work, he's all horn dogged up. It's like, no, dude, go take a shower and shave. Don't make love to your woman all nasty. That's gross. Some women are okay with that. Okay, then, hey, you want to hump like raccoons and be all covered in poop and pee and your nest? Hey, have fun like animals, but that's gross. That's just nasty. What's floppy and sloppy? Stubble rash does hurt. If you're thinking floppy, that's why I tend to favor flat chested women. They're hot even at 60. But that's just me. Some women are into beards. I can't understand why. I know I wouldn't want to kiss a woman with a beard, and there's some women with beards. In here, man, there's a woman that would come up and shove her breasts into me at work. I said, man, stop. You don't want to be my boyfriend? I said, no, ma'am. Why? What you got against black women? I said, I don't got nothing against black women. I almost turned around and said, it's got all this boob cheese going on, all that curly Q hair. No. You got too much testosterone on your tots. Yeah, I agree, Cheryl. Nikki, we like to have fun. This is called Real Chat for Real People. Jordan Riley calls himself Real Talk. No, you're a cult, dude, and you think you're the only one that knows the Word of God, and you got some views that are just off. This is Real Talk for Real People. Yeah, remember ZZ Top? She got beards. Man, that thing must have been 3 feet long. Yeah, we all need a laugh or two, Nikki. Nothing wrong with a little injected humor. The truth is, we all stink and we all need to bathe. Some people just get lazy. Woman, get a nice clean up and put on that nice little satin negligee and smell of perfume and hair smells good. Man, that's how to rock my world. Cheryl, that's right. I tried to grow a beard 2 weeks in Minnesota because we got down to 38 below and some records for 20, 25 years. Lake Superior froze from shore to shore that year. That's over 400 feet long and 1,600 feet deep at its deepest spot. That lake is always moving. That was cold to freeze it surface to surface all the way. Doesn't freeze enough, though, where you could dare to walk on that. You can go out on the bay, but you better not go out miles because then you're going to punch through. It's really sad. There's an island off the coast of Minnesota that belongs to Michigan called Isle Royal State Park. And the ice will get thick between Minnesota and Isle Royal, and many animals have left or come to the island as a result of that. What's sad is the moose, they'll punch through and they can't get out. Sometimes if somebody sees it, they'll attempt to rescue. It's very difficult to do, but it's sad. I mean, it's just a big, beautiful animal and it falls through the ice, and that's awful. Yes, Colette, I agree with you on that one. Love that long black hair. It's a favorite of mine. It is sad. I think moose are cool. Moose are interesting. They'll just stand there on a cold Minnesota morning and they make a noise and his breath freezes in the air. I love it when they come up out of the water and there's moss dripping from their antlers. It's very cool. But don't play with them things, man. People go to Banff, Canada, and there's moose all over. And these DAs get up there and want to get a picture with the moose, and they get up close, and that moose will drop its head down and butt rump you with his rack in the next week. You don't play with the animals. You don't talk with the animals. You keep a healthy distance and leave them alone. They're animals. Hey, Randall, yeah, over what, 2 months ago? Wow, two people just came in and noticed it. Yes, look, this is all that's left of my locks, and I miss it. This is a souvenir from the Grand Era. Sad. I love the blonde streaks in it just from the sun. And it's so dark. I didn't realize how dark it was back underneath here. It's almost not even red. Really, Randall? Yeah, I was getting frizzy and tangled too much. It'll take 3 years to grow it back. Oh, and speaking of that, I got a white hair in my eyebrow. I need to get rid of that because it's really causing a problem. Here's my tweezers. That ain't them. Hold on, I have to tend to some personal hygiene here. Wrong way, dude. Gotta get it so I can grab it. There we go. Oh my gosh, it's hard to look in a mirror and perform a function. Really and truly. There we go. Boom. Got it. Look. A white hair. Your witness. It's happening, folks. Not good. That's the beginning of the downfall of the Michael Nelson Empire. It too is coming to an end. Wow. I'm like Alphaville. I wish I could be forever young. Only in the kingdom. Aging is something I doth resist. That took 3 years to get it that long. Well, thanks, Cheryl. I don't like medium. I want it long or short. It doesn't look good. When it grows to a certain point, I'll look like one of those geeksters in an office. And I hate that stage. So what I'm going to do is let it all grow out and be messy to get through that. And then we'll clean it up. Really, Mr. E-Rock. And how are you, by the way? Tweezers. Colette, tweezers. Yes, a man has tweezers. I've done it because my eyebrow hair grows incredibly thick. That stuff will get very long. And yes, I get those little black wiry ones that are like metal. These are perfect. You just grab the end and go, but it hurts. I'm going to tell you, if you had to pluck them all out, it's painful. That's good, Mr. E-Rock. I was telling the story that you told me about the punk that was disrespecting you playing his boom boom and he blew out his back window. It worked for you, and you had a bleacher seat to it, which I think is awesome. I did not realize you could blow your back window out and shatter the glass. Wow, Chance, it sucks, man. But I also got this. Yeah, and you men aren't going to like this, but we got to be honest here. We got to be honest here. You got this little thing. I got this at Walgreens years ago. It's actually an ear and nose hair trimmer. And then you just put this little guard over it. And you can do the eyebrows. You turn it on. It's kind of cool. I'm not going to do it, but you just... And you do it, and it'll trim your eyebrows nice and neat. Shoot, I could run my own hair salon in here. But yeah, my nose hairs grow embarrassingly. They've done that for a long time. But that cleans it up good. You ever see old men and they got a big old crop of white hair coming out of there? It's like, man, God, why do you do that to us? I don't get all that. I get those hairs on the edge of the ears that I just take the razor and go. Really, Davis? Can you really, Randall? I've got some back here, Cheryl. Well, not always, but it's been there the last 10 years. But it's not. What's going to happen with me is it's going to literally turn. It ain't going to gradual in. It's just going to go boom. That's what redheads tend to do. They don't go gray. They go straight to white. I know. Why does he do that? Why do women start growing hair on their lip? I noticed some of the black women down here, they got all this wiry hair growing out of their chins and stuff. It's ghastly. I knew that Minnesota, though, the Scandinavian women that get older, I used to do the grocery shuttle Tuesdays and Wednesdays on the bus, pick up the seniors, nicest people. And these Scandinavian women, they get on and they got hairs all out of their chin and up here. And yeah, I remember when I was in the Philippines, a lot of the Filipinas get a lot of moles. And I knew one in Hong Kong that was with a friend of mine, and her friend was with her. Big giant mole with a 2-inch coarse, long black hair sticking out of it. I told my friend later, I said, why doesn't she? She goes, I told her that. I said, you know how ghastly that looks? No, I don't want to shave it. I don't want to pull it with the tweezers. Man, you can do it without hurting. You just take the razor. You don't touch the mole. Just go, yuck. I mean, we all got unsightly things that we got to deal with, man. The estrogen stops. That's interesting. Yeah, the wonderful world of aging. I think it's downright demonic, insidiously evil. Any questions? Aging sucks. The only thing good about aging is you usually get smarter. Why is beauty and strength wasted on the youth? It should be the reverse. When you're young, you should be ugly as sin. And when you get older, then you get the beautiful side. Then nobody will desire these little teeny boppers, and they won't be on TikTok thinking they're all that on a stick. I don't know what this young generation would do if China dropped an EMP. They would be committing mass suicide. What? No TikTok, Instagram, and social media? Nope, you're done. Time to do chores, time to get a job. Bring back the seesaws and the merry-go-rounds at the public parks. Bring back the slinky and the hula hoop and the slip and slide and the sit and spin. There we go. Let's bring back Tonkas. Let's live again. Let's get the little Viewmaster, the little gay walkie-talkies that never work, 2 tin cans and a string. Yeah, we know how to live back then, folks. We used to build tree houses, tree forts. I didn't think life was boring. Kids don't even know that today. Instead, you got the twatosaurus called Greta Thunberg. That girl irritates me. She irritates me to no end. She was not gifted with beauty. She looks like a damn liberal. She's a twatosaurus. Spoiled little brat. Yeah. I'm sorry you're having withdrawal because you didn't grow up on a big wheel or a box of crayons. But you know what, girl? You're full of beans. Are you serious, Nikki? I think they ought to allow Americans to help the police. I think they need to allow, since they want to declare war on whites, I think Americans that have arms and ammunition should be able to go downtown with their AKs and ARs and say, go ahead, rob that business, little boy. Go ahead. You look like a colander by the time I'm done with you. That's what we need. We can solve the problems in this country. It needs to be done. No more rioting, no more pillaging and looting. You stand out there with your AK and say, what are you doing? I'll get me some food. No, you're not. You're not coming in here today. You're not going to steal. You're not going to tear up shit. Turn around and go. I'm sorry. America's not solving problems, and we can. We absolutely can. Enough citizens are armed. We could stop this crime problem. Bring the whites down there. Bring the whites with their loaded stuff and their pickup trucks and block the streets and say, want to play, boys? We're going to shut this down today. You're not going to steal. You're going to go get an effing job and you can become a man and pull up your big boy pants and you're going to stop tearing up society and driving up the prices for everybody. Done. Wow. Yeah. You know why? Because there's a lot of blacks there and they don't know how to act. I'm getting tired of people saying we're racist. No, no, it's what is the word that they're using now? Pattern recognition. It's pattern recognition. When dog salivates every time it rings a bell because he knows he's getting a treat. When you turn on the evening news and it's black crime, black crime, black crime, black on black, violence, violence, black, 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 you start to go, well, gee, there's a theme here. When you hear this tune, you don't think of Gilligan's Island. Dun 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 dun. You think of the Brady Bunch. Wouldn't that be racist? You're making an assumption. You're making a generalization. No, the song goes with that show. Same thing. Where do the riots take place? Well, mostly in black-dominated areas. Pattern recognition is not racism, folks. It's called using your brain and thinking for yourself. And if you don't like what I have to say, the shoe fits, wear it, baby. And I'm sorry. Employ the citizens of this country to solve some of the problems, and you'd be surprised they could pull it off. Sniper, what do you think about that? You think the citizens, if we were actively allowed to help the police and be told you can't just shoot people for the sake of it, but if they start to break in, you can stop them. You think we could do it? I think we need to. Why are we leaving it all up to the police? We're going to call in the guard. How if you call in the citizens that give a shit about their city? You're not going to tear up Cincinnati. We're tired of this. You're not going to tear up Columbus. You boys are going to go back home and you're going to get a job. That's it. You people calling us racist are the ones taking advantage of us and our tax dollars. Least you could do is show some effing respect and shut your mouth about what you got to say about us. We're the ones working so you can sit on your candy ass and pump out more babies and smoke more pot and buy 3-foot ugly McDonald's pimpy rims for your Crown Vic and go, that is urban terrorism and that should be illegal. You should not have a right to go through any residential neighborhood anywhere in the U.S. blasting that kind of noise. It's your residence. You pay property taxes. I don't pay property taxes to listen to ghetto ASS crap. You people have more rights than we do. Shut your mouth. I'm sick of it. You're racist. You're disrespectful. You are oppressing the rest of us. Shut your mouth. Get the popcorn. You want to watch a movie? Let's watch. I'm tired of my race being maligned, been told we got to walk on eggshells at work, in the streets. No, we don't. Stop acting like a fool, bro. And then you won't be talked about the way we talk about you. Act right and get it straight. And I hope you're listening from Richmond County. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. I speak truth, no lies. Americans, we have a thin line that we have to walk. We can't take matters into our own hands. But where does that begin to change? I think if they're going to riot and tear up a city, Americans, get involved, get in your pickup trucks, go down there and say, look, police, you're not doing it. We're doing it. Shut it down. Drop them like it's hot. You're done, fool. You didn't read me right. You don't got no rights. You didn't care about the store owner's rights. You didn't care about my rights because my prices go up because of all your little stealing. Walmart, the CEO came out several years ago and said, due to all the theft nationwide, they were raising the prices. So the honest people who do the self-checkout and don't cheat, we're getting pimped. Let the citizens fight against this garbage. Use prudence when you do it. You don't just spray everybody down. You warn them. You fire a shot overhead. Second one say, go in that store. I'm going to get your foot. Don't be a bloodlust. Disable them. Put them out of commission. Let them live and enjoy the fruit of their consequence. I'm telling you, man, this country is too soft on these asshats. And I'm not talking about all blacks, but we know that there's a lot of blacks that make up the majority of the crime stats. And it's time to shut the Democrats up and tell them to get the F off of our backs and stop lying to us and stop stirring the racist pot. Get a job. You want food on the table? Go to work. If you're really down on things, get back to God. Get involved in the church. God has resources for you. Stop making Uncle Sam your sugar papa and then telling me America's a terrible place. Biden is a joker and an asshat. Summa cum laude. And you know what? For all you black people to say you're Christian and you support theft and all this behavior, read your Bibles. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the BS. And you don't get your way, and you're going to threaten us with more riots, and you said it, you're going to kill white people. I'm sorry, but that gives white people right to be locked, loaded, and ready. And I think they should stand downtown and say, you're not doing this today. Do you love Cincinnati, white people? Defend it. This is why this stuff has gone on, because we let the police do it. And we have to be careful, because if we do something and take it into our own hands, we go to jail. But if they're going to get out there and tear stuff up, maybe it's time for Americans to say, no more. Police, step aside. We got this. Go get some donuts. We're going to take care of this. And when we're done, you can bring some of the donuts to us. How's that? How are you, Jeff? Morning, Jessica. Jessica's so pretty. I want to kiss on that face, Jessica. It is in our Constitution. Well, it talks about a militia. And we're not supposed to take the law in our own hands, but when you see them bowling over the police, you know how you could have shut down Chaz in Seattle? Get every American guy with a pickup truck and a gun and say, no, not today, boys. Mr. Dreadlocks, move out the way. What you talking about? Move out the way. You don't own this building. You don't own this downtown. Get out. Do I need to fire a gun? You tell me what I'm going to do today. You decide what I'm going to do today. You get the choice. I believe Americans are fully capable, but we've been emasculated. We've had our dicks cut off and tied and thrown in the trash, and we're told we can't do anything. You'll go to jail. Well, guess what? The police aren't doing anything. The law isn't doing anything. I'm tired of watching our cities burn. I'm tired of watching people get tore up. I'm tired of that white woman that got tore up in Cincinnati. I lost my job defending her. And you know why? Because these black racist pieces of trash. And they're not all that way. We know that. There's some beautiful, wonderful black people that believe in God and fear God and don't support this. Thank you, Carol. You want to tear up our cities because you don't get your EBT? Grow the hell up. You need God. If you truly feared God, you trust Him to provide your needs. You are the reason that the Democrats can do what they do. They keep this shit going and going and going and going. and then they tell us that we're racist. I know that, Colette, but a lot are. And that goes for white boys. White boys that are sitting there with a weight set in front of the projects. If you can lift those weights, you can work on a street crew. And they should have done this. Anybody hear of the WPA in World War II? An organization started to get things done in the U.S. and give people jobs. Well, you got a bunch of people on EBT and in the projects show up at 8 o'clock at your local city government. Today, we're going to pick up trash on the streets. Today, we're going to give you a shovel and you're going to patch potholes. Ladies, we're going to teach you how to file stuff in offices. We're going to start using people so that our taxpayer dollars are working for their money. And if you want a real job, you can learn a skill and then you can get off and be proud of yourself. Why are we letting them sit on the system? We're shelling out money, then let's get goods and services for the money. When I pay money at the store, I get something. When I work, I get a paycheck. You're going to get free help, then you need to be labor. I understand a black woman falling down on hard times or a white woman. I get that. It's supposed to be a help up, not a handout to stay there. We all get down. We all need a lift. But some of y'all need to get off the liberal limousine, okay? Because the rides ain't free and I'm tired of paying for it. What is that stat, Colette, on welfare? What city you in, Davis? That's right, Jessica. Nikki, are you leaving? You have a good day. Let's not give money to the politicians. No, thank you. Jessica, haven't kissed in a while. You up for some? I demand the federal government subsidize my existence. Wah. And if we're going to cut these programs, lower our taxes, please. Okay, but did you hear who's making the threats, Colette? Did you hear who's making the threats? You don't live here. Are you paying attention to the news? Anybody want to tell in the room, was it white people threatening to riot and steal, or was it blacks? Anybody want to offer? I thought I heard a lot of it coming from the black community. I didn't hear any from the white sector. Am I wrong on that? Somebody correct me. I stand to be corrected. Blacks. So you guys heard news stuff or whatever too? Exclusively. See? There you go, Colette. The whites may not like it, but until I hear and see them saying they're part of this, then we got it back to the same old usual suspects again. Hello, Juanita. Jessica, I didn't offend you, did I? To 12% doing 90% of the crime. Got you, Tasty. Thank you for the honesty. How's Juanita? Yeah, see, why are we giving? Good, thank you. I just gave Jessica a pick me up. Ooh, he wants to kiss on me. She's going to go to work today saying, I feel good. It is tough times, and I am not being insensitive. People think I am. You know, did you all see what happened during COVID? Democrats gave big boosts to people to sit at home. And when they lifted all the mandates, we went to Popeyes. We had to deliver food. We went to Popeyes and we couldn't go in the building. It was locked. Then we had a school bus, so we couldn't go through the drive-thru. So we parked the bus nearby, walked. Lady said, "You can't walk through the drive." I said, "We're driving the bus and delivering food. You don't have the doors open. We're trying to get some." "Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay then." "Why are your doors shut?" "Because," and it was black people that told me this too, "because they're getting so much money at COVID, they don't want to come back to work anymore." I said, "Wow." Ha! Jessica, you should be dancing. Yeah. Dancing with myself. Yeah. Oh. Who sang that? Dancing with myself. Who sang that? Was that the Cure? That's right. Now we'll say one thing about Augusta. Was that David Bowie or Billy Idol? Oh, which one was it? I will say, okay, Billy Idol, got you. Citing statistics with zero references. Yeah, I agree with that. Augusta, in spite of itself, I've not seen the rioting. When all that George Floyd stuff happened, they did walk to a park, but there was no vandalism. Augusta's a weird place. They don't really have a center to raise hell. Downtown is too far. The Walmarts and the places for shopping for South Augusta are so spread out. It's weird. It's like Augusta's a big giant circle. It's actually a smart design. It limits that stuff. Unfortunately, it's these old places that have the old centralized downtown, and everybody converges. All the buses go down there. Yeah, Augusta's a little different. And I do believe that the police aren't going to tolerate it here. The police are weak, but they're going to get down on it. Um, there wasn't any of that. Stealing goes on during Helene when everything was shut down and all the lights and the alarms were off and you couldn't be seen. But bold crowd rush to a store smashing windows. Doubt you'll see that in Augusta because the police will show up and it's going to be ugly. They're going to stop it. Georgia seems to be fairly on top of that. But Augusta, the city layout doesn't lend itself to riots. There's really no place to go to do that. Downtown Augusta is not really a hub like downtown USA. Neeks! Well, we have sheriffs. They used to have police, but it's Richmond County Sheriff's Department. Oh, the state troopers in Georgia don't play. They'll pursue these high-speed chasers, and it always ends up bad for the chase, for the one doing the speeding. Jessica, makes no damn sense. Neeks, I'm good. How are you? All right, everybody, get along. I don't need no fighting in here. Well, yeah, in a Democrat mostly controlled woke community, we know where that's going to go, Will. Not good. Yeah, Carol, they do that here too. That's good, Neeks. Nice to see your pretty face and long hair. I just want police to do their job. Stop coddling idiots. Stop being afraid of being called a racist for simply doing your job. Jello involved. Cheryl must have been in the public school throwing food in the cafeteria back in the day. Oh, they did that at my high school. See, we had open campus when I was in high school. We didn't stay in the lunchroom. We walked over to Safeway and hung out at the little strip mall. And we come back. Oh my gosh, were you guys in the lunchroom? No. There's a big old food fight. Maruka's pissed. Maruka's the principal. And I said, oh, we're going to have a school assembly and get our butts chewed out for not showing school pride again. You're right. You're absolutely right, Snapshot. Smoking weed at the mall. John, no. I didn't do that. Smoking weed at the mall. Sheesh. And you guys thought that was living. I was going to go to class instead of going high. You know why? Because they used to use that word and call them spooks. Another word they used was coons. I didn't know that. We call raccoons coons. I'd say, I'm going to trap some coons. Well, I had read somewhere that was a racist derogatory term, so I don't say that. I say, yeah, I trapped raccoon. I don't say coons because people get set off by that. Blacks claim picnic is a racist word because it stood for Nigger. I don't know if that's true or not. I was told that the word picnic originates from France. Somebody could look that up for me. Sharpening my fingernails. Uh-oh, we got a cat scratch fever going on. Well, you could smoke off school property. So at Prescott, they stood over on the cemetery property. They call this Smoker's Hill. Not too far from graves. I'm sure Agnes and Harold were in their graves going, you know, Agnes, I'm getting tired of smelling that secondhand smoke. Me too, Harold. This is ridiculous over here. No respect. Toomey's got his guitar, smoking weed. Toomey, is that Evander? I don't know if you have two IDs or not. You don't know so many words. Words don't come easy for me. Da 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 da. Watching them smoke. No, Ellie. Where's Ellie? I'm getting annoyed with suppliers today, Mikey. There's no customer service. Oh, you got that right. You missed it, Neeks, in my video I was talking about training a young lady that the day before I had a mild attraction. And yesterday I'm like, I don't want to train no more. These young people are tough to deal with. Smoked on airplanes. Man, they smoked everywhere. At my workplace, all the men go out and light up. I'm the only one. Well, there's a few of us that don't. But, oh yeah, smoking. Good night. Vaping and smoking. Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the music. Play that funky music till you die. Till you die. No, I'm out of munchies. I was too lazy to go after work. I get off work. I don't feel like driving around to stores. Hospital room. Can you believe that? I ate some cheese a bit ago. Have you farted during a stream? I actually have in the kitchen, and some people didn't hear it, but one day I was making a point and I felt a rumble and I went, everybody in the room laughed so hard. I said, and that is his rebuttal. Really? That's interesting, Okie. I did not know that. Are you smoking cigs or weed? That's my rebuttal. I'd love to work in the House and Senate because I would probably do something like that. I'd just stand up with that microphone, hold it down. I think your idea is crap, Senator. Mr. Nelson, that is not the way you conduct yourself in the House. Oh, really? Why, you guys waste taxpayer money and pocket things, and you call that professional? And you're worried that I did a mic drop on the fart? Dude, get a grip. You can't run the country. Stop pork barreling the people, man. They wouldn't want me in politics. They'd hate my guts. I have this cigar from last week, but it's just sitting here untouched. Big old hoagie sitting there. Literally crap. That's good, Juanita. I like to kiss a lady that has no cigarette in her smell. Unfortunately, I smoke tobacco, do nothing else. A openeth? What's an A openeth? Hello, Mr. Kindly. It's a $3 cigar. Dang, why a $3 cigar? Have a cigar, boys, have a cigar. I'm having a baby. Oh, that's great. You'll love it when it keeps you up all night with its colicky and screaming and throwing things. You feed him in the high chair and a bowl of peas ends up in your face. Yeah, good times there, Daddy. I love kids, but I'm done with that. Done. I don't even want to drive a school bus again. They'd better offer me a ton of money before I'm not down here. Out of the question. Out of the question. Done with these chilling down here. Done. You're not having technical difficulties. Cigars, I can't deal with that. Some of them are just overpowering. The only smell that I liked were the old Clover cigarettes. I don't even know if they make those anymore. They're still just as bad for you, but they smell good. And Black and Mild smell good, but they're still cancer stick. I know about Black and Milds because kids would smoke them on the bus. They'd take part of it out and stuff some pot in there. They did all kinds of cute tricks to try to mask it. Copenhagen, really? Yeah, and you can get gum cancer, I heard. I have 3 kids and 3 adults. Wow. Jim Sock. Mr. E-Rock. Yuck. 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 It's time to have 2 eggs. I heat up. I can't cool down. You got me spinning round and round. Round and round, round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Every time Jessica calls my name, I heat up like a burning flame. Burning flame, warm desire. Kiss me, baby, let the fire get higher. Abra, abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab you. I need a woman. I need a woman, and yes, I'm flirting. I am flirting. Jessica's close to me too. She's not in Timbuktu. Somebody left a comment on my Bohemian Rhapsody short. Said, love the preaching, but after seeing this video, I'm out. Why? Is Bohemian Rhapsody satanic? Oh my gosh. People are ridiculous. So go ahead, ban me because I danced to Bohemian Rhapsody? Are you serious? I mean, okay, so deprive yourself of some honest and real chat and channel. Go ahead. I mean, if that's what you want to do, you can live on your little holy hill somewhere. I mean, I try not to listen to overtly satanic or terrible music. Bohemian Rhapsody to me is just music. Unless I've missed something in the translation. I know that Queen was flaming gay and I don't support that, but, you know, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If, you know, Queen singing, I'm a fag, I'm not going to listen to that, okay? I think South Park did that. I'm a fag. No thanks. I don't want to listen to I'm a fag. You know, fag was a word for cigarette back in the day. Y'all know that? Say, pass me a fag, man. Why did they call a cigarette a fag? Really, Okie? Interesting. And how did we come up with the term faggot for a gay person? Where'd that all originate? Neats! I love you, Neats! Have a good day! I like that Okie knows some stuff. I like people in the know. I'm glad to see people showing up in here. I'm glad Cheryl's back. I'm glad everybody's here. Carol, does that milk taste any different than the pasteurized in the regular stores? Oh, turn down the heat, Mike. You're going to blow up your eggs. There we go. Got you, Jessica. Oh, I could look it up. It's just I can't right now. Neeks, you're awesome. That wild head of black hair is just irresistible to me. By the way, your voice, when you did the voice clip in the Discord, thank you. You've got a very heavy British accent, and I keep forgetting that South Africa was British colonialism back in the day. You got a very lovely accent, very cool. I dare say, Whitley, I never would have thought the niece had a lovely accent. Somebody asked me yesterday if I drink coffee. I said, really? With my energy, you think a bucket of caffeine would be what I need? I will not get to sleep, folks. At all, if I drink 1 cup of cafe. I cannot. She's got eggs. She knows how to fry them. Look at that. This is what I call almost perfect. Not restaurant perfect. I love watching the guys. My math teacher was also the school cook for the cafeteria at Mammoth High. Cracker McGrail, and kids would call him Crackpot. Cracker was a nice man, but he would wear his white button-up shirts, lift up his arm, and there's big yellow stains on him, and it's just really bad when you're in middle school and the teacher stand there and put his arms up, and everybody's like, could you please put your arms down? People went to work at school like that. But he was a kind-hearted soul. And we got detention because we were acting up in his class, and he said, Nelson, 6 o'clock tomorrow, cafeteria. Oh, man. He wanted us to crack the eggs. He said, now, I don't want you to do this, but I'm going to show you what I do. And he put the eggs in the skillet. He took and went like that and flipped them perfectly. I said, how do you do that? He said, lots of practice. I said, you guys helped me today. Thank you. You guys are cut free. You come in for a free lunch. Tell him Cracker said. I said, wow. He was pretty cool about the detention, and I didn't act up in his class anymore. See, there were teachers that made a difference. Today, they're too much of a permission slip, but they could be harsh back then, and when he showed just that little bit of grace, it made me not want to do that anymore. Now they're coddling these damn kids, and it ain't working. I had a girl get on my bus here at Richmond County, high school route. I said, where have you been? I haven't seen you. She goes, I needed a mental health break. If I'd have looked at my mom and dad and said, I need a mental health break, I'm not going, my dad had said, well, you're going to need mental help if you don't get out there because I'm going to beat your butt. You're going to school. What has happened? Snowflakes and butterflies. Everybody is a pussy. Jeez. Everybody in this young generation. But watch this. They'll get up in your face, cuss you out, threaten you, but then they get their feelings hurt. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. I'm telling you, folks, that's not okay. We're going to do rice and eggs today. How about that? Where's my rice cups? Did I burn them all up? Really? All right, it is time to go to the store and load up on some stuff. I get so used to going to work and going home. I don't like to go out afterwards. How about if I do this one? We'll do some jasmine rice. We'll do it. Do it. Do that to me one more time. You guys are awesome. I mean, seriously, I can be myself on here. Most people would be repulsed. At least, but see, The thing is, I can be myself because now you got people with a toilet seat on his head with frosting and sprinkles on it, or you got dumb doing HU meditation with a triangle on his head saying, I am in control of the weather, I am in control of healing, but are you in control of your shower bill? No. Oh my gosh, I've seen it all, folks. Seen it all. I'm gonna put the eggs on the rice. I think so. Yeah. I'll put the rice in the bowl. I'll dump some of the oil from the egg in there. I recycle. I never got paddled. Now I'm lazy. At least you're honest, doggy. I got threatened. Oh, no, I got my butt paddled twice by Mr. Maruka. First time, I don't remember what I did. It was always Mr. Althofer's class. I hated, what do they call it? What was the name of the dang class? Not civics. It wasn't history. It was history. It was world history. You know, he had gone to China many times, and he knew about the Ming and the Mao dynasty and all that stuff. And you know, when you're in middle school and you're a boy and you got girls in my school back then. Okay, we're going to talk about something, folks, because some of these cats forget things. They come on here commenting on my dress. Okay, girls in our school were well endowed. They were hot, and they had shirts that came just under the edge of the underboob. And they weren't sent home. The boys came to school in shirts like this. Nobody said anything. That was the style. Now I do this. Oh my gosh, what is this guy doing? Ah! Sound the alarm! Houston, we have a problem. Michael's a faggot. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. No, he isn't. Have you ever seen him in a sword fight? No, but... Well, then shut up. So I got in trouble with Mr. Althofer's. Social studies, that's it. I knew it was a boring name. Social studies. There was nothing social about it. I don't know what I did, but I was sent to his office. Mr. Maruka pulled out a ping pong paddle, told me to face the wall, and I felt it, but it was a nothing burger. And I walked out. My two friends were outside in the hall waiting. Did it hurt? And I said, no, he used a ping pong paddle. Well, the office door he had an inner office. And I walked out past the receptionist, out the little gate, and then out the door to the main offices. I didn't know he was right behind me. And I said, geez, he used a ping pong paddle. It didn't even hurt. They were laughing when we walked down the hall. Sometime in the dinner distance, I got in trouble again and sent there. Mr. Maruka called me in and he said, last time I heard you thought it was funny that I tried to give you some grace and I used a ping pong paddle, and he was standing there with a canoe paddle, and I thought, oh crap, this is gonna hurt. Face the wall, Nelson. Oh man. I walked out of there, I was tears. My two friends were out there, and I said, shut up, don't ask. And they were like, oh my gosh, Mike got whipped. Oh my gosh. What grade was I in? I believe I was in middle school when that happened. You know, I never hated Mr. Maruka, though. You know why? Because I had it coming. You see, people don't realize that. I actually respect the people who discipline me properly. Properly. That's the key word. When I was wrong, I was wrong. Now these kids can get up in your face, say F you, threaten you, and you touch them, and they're gonna call the police on you. That ain't right. Not in the least. in the least. Simple cooking, man. Basic skills. Anybody know what the Bible stands for? Basic instructions before leaving Earth. So get it straight, folks, because we're leaving this planet someday, and we're not going up on a spaceship. We are not going up on a spacecraft. We're not going to see little green men with antennas. Anybody remember Wolfman Jack? Hey, this is Wolfman Jack. That was cool. Woo! Werewolves of London. Yes, Juanita. Somebody said that years ago, and I liked it. Form tackles and sucker punches. Ouch, Okie. Well, we used to hear the term, not my dad didn't say this, but the Southern people said it. Boy, you better knock it off or I'm going to take you to the woodshed. That's another thing that's construed as racist. You do not say to a black person, never call him boy. That'll get you in a fight. I'm not sure why, because I wasn't raised down here. I grew up on Foghorn Leghorn. Now, boy, I never saw that as racist. Foghorn Leghorn was funny. Most of today's kids can't even get it. The humor in that was awesome. I remember that little hen that had an interest in him. She's about as sharp as a bowling ball. That was funny stuff. Wow, grab your jacket, you're on the floor. I was a straight menace. My mother did that. My mother also did violence. You're not going to like this? Never hit a kid in the face. You do not slap a child. You do not use your hand. A lot of people do use their hand. They slap a kid. The rod of discipline, the hands of love. Okay? We need to remember that. You slap your child, you physically contact his or her face, that's abuse. That's not okay. The butt is the place. The seat of learning is where you apply the board of education. That ain't right, John. Well, my mom and dad did that. My mom threatened to hit me. We were having an argument. I don't even remember what it was. It was in Mammoth downstairs by the mudroom, the wood stove, and my mother threatened. I said, if you touch me, I'm going to hit you back. She told my dad, and my dad said, let me make it clear, if you ever touch your mother, I hated my dad. I kept my mouth shut, but I hated him. But I can't win here. Cannot win here. And watch this. I still tried to love them. After I got saved, one day I had enough, and I just said, that's it. Done. Wrote a final letter. I'm done. Took me to my 30s to do that. I didn't even know my dad had died. It was passed on to me by somebody else. I felt nothing. Not hurt, not sad, not happy, just numb. And so it'll be with my mom. Figures she'd outlive him. She was the worst of them all. You ever notice that? Some of the most horrible people have a long life. And it's confusing because in the Bible, it says, do these things that you may live long. Got to stop taking things out of context. That was to the Jewish people back then. Today, it seems like the most ungodly people live for a long time, and the good ones get taken out of our midst. I've heard it said, well, God needed a rose in his garden. I've lived in towns where some good breath of fresh air will move into it, and they're taken out of that town. And I'm like, not death. And wow, why do the good people disappear so fast? Then we're stuck with all these fuddy-duddy, yeah. My mother was horrible to her husband. That's interesting, Okie. It will, Jessica. It does have an end date, thank God. And that'll happen when the devil and the false prophet and all whose names are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life are cast in the lake of fire. That'll be the end of it. Strong-willed. Don't they have a book, Raising the Strong-Willed Child? Strong will can be a good thing, but it needs to be channeled and it needs to be reined in according to the truth. Could you imagine a sitcom today? I imagine a scenario with that woman I work with. You can't do this in real life, but say, you know what, I thought you were cute, but you're really irritating and you're woke and you're messed up. And you end up falling in love, and then you have this sitcom of two complete polar opposites that are in love, but yet drive each other nuts. And she starts playing that god-awful rap. And you listen to that crap again? By the way, blended families do not work. They do not work. 99% of the time. Nope, rice and eggs. Chanel. When does Chanel come in? Somebody say Chanel? Maybe I'm seeing things. Or somebody say channel. I think all kids are strong-willed today. Psychotic. I said this yesterday, I'm going to say it again. I'm not attacking the women in here. If the shoe fits, I don't know what to say. And people will say, well, Mike, that's subjective. I don't believe it is. I do have opinions. This is my opinion. But I also believe it's a fact. I believe most women listen to crappy music. They like edgy, crappy, irritating stuff that has no substance. I see it on all levels. These young women are into just trash. And people say, well, that's not right. No, that's not my opinion. Most of what they listen to is not music. It's just rebel rock racket. A lot of the so-called music they're listening to is nothing more than acting out. And I always wondered that. I always thought women would pick. I picture sophisticated women with like classical. I picture a woman doing a bubble bath and putting on Mendelssohn or Tchaikovsky, but oh no, they're not listening to that. I remember when Joan Jett came out. I was not a Christian. My sister liked her, and I couldn't stand Joan Jett. I love rock and roll. I remember as a kid, I said, man, she's so uncouth. She really, to me, symbolizes the beginning of that. Well, she's actually predated by Janis Joplin, and those were not great musicians either. People would dispute that with me, but they were rebels. I mean, Joan Jett was awful. Some people like her, but it's because we've been conditioned to like moral tooth decay. You know, I listened to music that had good sound to it, that made me happy and feel good. I did not like music that was edgy and irritating and rebel. Now, when I was in high school, we used to chant, we're not gonna take it. That stuff seems tame to what's out there today. That stuff seems tame. When I was a kid, Twisted Sister was considered satanic. And that seems tame today. And I think more or less what they were doing was acting. No, we ain't gonna take it. Today, this music is literally reflective of what is going on inside the man or woman, and it's not pretty. Eminem is just Angry Bird music. He's awful. Most rap music is awful. We do, Cheryl. We absolutely do, and I appreciate that. You're right, Sir Jacob. I listened to it back in high school, but I don't like Wham. I don't like Elton John, Wham, or Boy George. I did have a Boy George tape when I was in school. I didn't know he was gay until later. And I tend to stay away from the gay music. I don't like Queen except for Bohemian Rhapsody. Boy George was out there. He was weird. And look at the hell I get for wearing this. Or whatever. Boy George was in your face gay and he made millions off his album. It's just funny how society picks and chooses who they're going to demonize and who they don't. Kenny Loggins was good. I've heard of him and I don't even know his music. Castle. I don't even know his music. George Michael did what? What did he do? Am I picky? It depends. I don't like a lot of today's music because it's when I hear some of this stuff, I feel a satanic cloud hovering right over it. No, I don't want to listen to that. I've never liked music that goes boom, boom. That's just stupid. That's like African tribal warrior cry. I'm chief of have small penis. I play drum loudly to compensate for small penis. Yes, I beat on my drum. Make everybody think I'm bigger than I really am. Boom, 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 boom. Little Smoky, boom, boom. Little Smoky, boom, boom. Little Smoky, little Smoky. Boom, boom. I got a little Smoky. Boom, boom. I got insecurity. Boom, boom. I got to overcompensate. Boom, boom. So I listen to music full of hate. Boom, boom. I play it loud in the crowd. Boom, boom. I don't care if it shake your wall. Boom, boom. I always have a ball because I don't got no balls. Oh yeah, let's write a song, folks. Let's do new rap music and do it right back at them. Let's do it. Sex and Candy was their worst song. Sex and Candy. Died of AIDS. Oh, Wham! I know he's your favorite, Colette. No sarcasm there. I'm never gonna cheat a friend. The careless whisper I've been feeling. Oh, oh, oh. No thanks. In what way, Sir Jacob? Tell me so I can have some assessment here. Did Hall and Oates go against each other? I know they had some struggle. I heard that recently. I liked a lot of their music. Boy, Journey was tough. They ran the new Filipino drummer out of there. But Steve Perry had problems. He was so devoted to his music that he left Sherry. Sherry was a hottie. She was in that video. Man, there's something wrong with a man who loses a good woman for his career. Now, there's some men that should just follow their career because some women will just wreck your life. But Sherry seemed like a good one. No, it's not blonde. That's sun bleached. Good old Colorado in the summers. Don't spread rumors. Look at all these rumors. There's some black music that's come out, even recently, that's not bad. Like Keep It 100. Listen to the words of that. Don't ask my mother about my business. Just keep it 100. Come to me. The blacks know that too well, but we whites do too. Girls like to do that. Oh, did you hear Mike? Did you ask me, ladies? No, you get a bunch of hands and a did you ask me? A shame on American churches and pastors for not rebuking the women that entertain the gossip from somebody that's their friend, who heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who talked about her husband messing around. and he wasn't, and you lied, and you character assassinate your husband in front of all your Christian lady friends, and they're all sitting there, that is gossip. You women shouldn't be taking your business to the streets in the church before a bunch of girls. You got a problem? You look your man in the eye and say, can we go to the pastor? That's what you need to do. Women gang up on men. I've seen it at work. I've seen it every place I work. One woman drops a tidbit of bullshit, and everybody's on it like flies on Dookie on a hot summer day. Zzz, zzz, thinking they got fresh stuff. It's a lie. Did you all ask me? Did you keep it 100? Did you keep it 100? No, you got sucked into the whirlpool. You were more than a tornado that took Dorothy to, what is it, Oz? Come on, man. You got to talk it out, man. We got to talk this out. Women have a problem of going to other women, and women will automatically defend other women. We men don't do that crap. Most of the time, men just try to gut through something. We might have a couple close male friends to go, Mike, you're all right. No, my wife, man. What's going on? Yeah, Mike, you know how women are. They don't ride that horse all day. You know how women are, Mike. Just get over it, man. Did you keep it 100? That's a good song. Don't ask my sister about my new car. Don't ask my brother about who I'm seeing. Just keep it 100. Gossip is just as big in the black community as it is in the white. You know the sins that go on with whites are the same that go on in the blacks. It's kind of funny how that works. All sin and fall short of the glory of God, regardless of color. Look at the songs in black music. They complaining about it in music. Look at all these rumors. Passing around every day. My best friend's dead. My best friend's gay. Oh yeah, it's all there. I can't. I don't have a separate device. Remember when we used to have a stereo? Whoa, oh, wow, my voice. Whoa, on the radio. And I couldn't stand Prince. I like 1999. I like When Doves Cry, but I couldn't stand him. Prince was weird too. And it's funny, people have criticized me on my channel. Prince was weird and he was a sexual freak, a Saurus. The guy was strange. He's got a warehouse in Minneapolis that you can tour. It's all purple inside. Purple rain. Yeah, I think he had an explosion out the end of that thing between his legs and it purplized the whole place. Shoot, I remember people used to joke about the Smurfs being all blue. They said they had blue cum. Oh, that's nice. I don't know what to think about that. People claim he got saved. I don't know if he did or not. I do not know if he did or not. Crazy Train was a good song. I was not an Ozzy fan, personally. I didn't get into what was dubbed heavy metal. I got into a little bit of Def Leppard, liked the Scorpions, loved U2 back in the day, and then they became too bubblegum. Coldplay, too. Coldplay had, their best song to me was Clocks. After that, nah. Coldplay just produced album after album, the sameness. That's the problem. A lot of these musicians, Taylor Swift and stuff, you've heard one song, you've heard them all. Taylor Swift, to me, is just throw up. It just doesn't do anything. Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, they're just... That's not even good music anymore. It's just crappy. The bands of the 70s and 80s were better than them. But you got a whole new generation. They think that stuff's the cat's meow. And it's just, ugh. It's like dress barn music. That's what it is. Cheap hair salon music. That's it. ELO, America, Gordon Lightfoot. Shoot. Some of those were legendary bands, and they still sound just as good now as they did then. And a lot of the stuff they make today ain't gonna last 100 years, let alone 20. Even the 90s still had some good stuff. I mean, just think how bad the world would have been if we didn't have shining, happy people holding hands. If you believe they put a man on the moon, man on the moon. Chris Isaac, R.E.M., The Church, good music. That's me in the corner, that's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. See, when I was first saved, I had this thing, oh, they're singing against religion, oh, that's godless, oh, that's evil. And he actually wasn't. You know, you have to grow up in Christ to actually learn what people were meaning when they said things. People take things so out of context. I'll be back. I have to make a contribution to the porcelain deity. I appreciate you guys. I really do. If you can believe it, you guys give me a sense of sanity in a world that's become so depersonalized. I said years ago, my goal was to get off social media. I can't. Because the real world out there is harsh. The real world in your personal is very And most of you are here not because you got this great social life. It's a problem everywhere. People pulled in, they become inverted. They've turned into themselves. Everybody's showing off online, or people are trying to find community online, people trying to make money online. But how many people have genuine bona fide community online? That's right, Sandy. Sandy, where do you live? I think I asked you this, but I forgot. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. Anniston, Alabama. Where is Anniston? I gotta go look at a map. I gotta go get my atlas. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee. Alabama. Wow, is that that's the first state in the atlas. Alabama, good old Bama. Where's Anniston, Sandy? Where are you close to? I've never stopped on a... You've never stopped on a live. Thank you, Jessica. Man, I cannot believe. I'm getting less of the trolls, though. You notice that? Remember in the beginning when you had 40,000, 12,000 views on this? Man, they were off the chain. But there's so many channels forming now. And when you got Mr. Toilet Seat, and you got a woman with a snake around her head, and all the eyeliner and the painted on eyebrows and all the cleavage, it's like, boy, the trolls got a buffet now, people to tease. Toilet seat attracts a lot of them. I mean, one day he had the toilet seat on and it looked like crap smeared all over it. And one time he had a slot car Hot Wheel track around it. One day he had cupcake frosting and sprinkles. I said, what is this guy's point? My kids could eat melatonin. Huh? Freak shows. You know, and I'm not a freak show. I'm different, but I do not consider myself freak. Jacksonville, Oxford. Where's Jacksonville? Did I go through Jacksonville? I went to Birmingham. Did I go through Tuscaloosa? No. I cut up, when I went through Birmingham, I connected to what? Jacksonville, where is it? What did you say? I'm reading that wrong. There is no Jacksonville. Let me read the comments here. Jacksonville, Oxford. We're talking about insomnia. Why would you go back? Because when I scan the live, sometimes I pause. I didn't stay there. I'd pause. I'm like, he was yelling at people. You guys told me to buy a new toilet seat and I bought one. Well, now he had a clear plastic one on that you could see through. I was looking because I study things. I'm a student of people. I'm like, what is drawing this? People, what's going on? And many people were leaving troll comments left and right. And he said, I don't care what you say. But it's amazing. He draws them in. I'm thinking of Jacksonville, Florida. My gosh, you're going to have to help me. I don't even know where that is. I went through Birmingham. I've been through, well, that's Mississippi, Tupelo. I did not go through Tuscaloosa. Did not go to Montgomery. Montgomery was the site of a bunch of racial BS back in the day. Girl, I can't even find you. I give up. I'd have to study that for an hour. "6:30, somebody's going to work with their boom boom. You have a good day there, and thank you, Jessica. And you too, thanks for coming in. Yeah, but where's Oxford? Are you north, south? I mean, I need to narrow this down because I cannot find it. Are you central? Are you southern? Because I do not know. They're not big towns because they're not showing up just at a glance. What are you close to that's big? Anything? Yeah, I can't even find this stuff. I've never heard of those places. I'm not saying they don't exist. They must be tiny, tiny little places. There's Jacksonville. There we go. You say Anniston? Okay, you're off 20. My bad. You're by Saks. I'm fail? What is fail? Yeah, I've heard that said, Okie. Thank you, Corey, and thanks for coming in. 2 gummies. I don't know if gummies were a sleep sedative. Yeah, no problem, Corey. Thanks for listening. And real talk for real people. We have humor. We're serious. We can get down and get on the Word of God, and we can talk about political and sexual and historical and cultural issues. No holds barred. This is not politically correct, nor is it intended to be politically correct. The purpose of this channel is to stimulate thought and encourage people to study a little bit deeper than they do and get past the evening news and actually do some research instead of listening to CNN. Chris, didn't we cover this before? You have a fascination with what I'm wearing. Are you gay? That is the question. Why are you worried about a man and what he's wearing? Thank you, Davis. Thanks for coming in. Seeing different demographic groups fight. Well, I'm Irish. I'm not black. I thank God I was not born in African-American skin with all of the stuff that goes on in their community, because if I was black and I had the conviction and spoke like I do, they'd probably shoot and kill me because they'd be very angry that I'm one of them but not one of them. I thank God that God put me in the package he put me in, and everybody should be thankful for the skin they were put in. Nobody's better than anybody. We're all equal at the foot of the cross. We're sinners that need to be saved. That's it. Wow, Juanita. Come here, I'll give you a good back massage. You'll fall asleep. I'll run my fingers on your scalp and massage real nicely, and you'll be... Everybody needs appropriate touch, man. I used to give massages at the Wheat Ridge Rec Center. I started massaging a couple of ladies that I was friends with, and then other ladies come in and see that. I'm next. Strangers. I couldn't believe, even in horrible Colorado, women seeing somebody get massaged appropriately, they wanted that. There's a glutton for touch in our country that goes beyond sex. I learned something through that. Somebody said, Michael, it's a massage ministry. No, it's not a ministry. It's more of the flesh. They benefit, so do I, because I'm touching a beautiful woman, but not touching all those other things. Juanita, I love a massage, and I don't get them no more. Last good massage I had was, well, in Hong Kong. Sandy, are you Native American? Alabama. I went through Alabama, Mississippi, all of that. New states for me, 2019. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, North and South Carolina. All brand new for me. I can say I've covered the Deep South. You know, it's funny, when you think of West Virginia, I can't see West Virginia being the South. Tennessee and Kentucky are considered the South. But West Virginia is a stretch. West Virginia just seems like it's its own out of place. I wouldn't call them the South. I wouldn't call them North. They're not that far from the Atlantic, but they're not Eastern Seaboard. They're definitely not the Midwest. Now, are you guys with me on that? Is it just me, or do you feel that way? West Virginia is very different as a state than any of the others in the South. The definition of hillbilly started there. $30. No, it's $100 an hour in Colorado. I did them for free. A CMT asked me to do her, and I'm not gonna lie, she was drop dead gorgeous. And I was trembling when I massaged her simply because, wow. What is way of Colorado? Or is that Ray? W-R-A-Y. There's Ray, Colorado, and there's Ouray, Colorado. O-U-R-A-Y. Ouray is a strange town. No, I yawn. My days are long because I get up early. Why, Juanita, you want to take a nap with me? We'll lay down. I'll help you go to sleep. And I'm not being sexual. Sometimes just feeling another heartbeat and feeling that rhythmic breathing. There's something very soothing about that. Maybe it goes back to the natal. Caught me again. Ah. Somebody at work was walking around yawning all day. And I said, really? Did you sleep last night? I am a flirt, guilty as charged. The cost of a house, Cheryl. You can't get houses cheap as you can in the South anywhere in the U.S. The West, the Midwest, the East, too expensive. And even if you get a cheaper house in the Midwest, your heating bills are ridiculous, especially if your house runs on fuel oil. Very, very costly. Oh, got you, Sandy. But I'll keep on going, and I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, but is it in the hood? That's my next question. Or is it 30 miles out of the nearest town and gas station and store? See, people don't look at that. You can buy a cheap house, but it's 50 miles from nowhere. You're like, great. That my gas bill just to get anywhere just for driving is going to be outrageous. But hey, if I become a successful YouTube artist, I can live on 50 million acres and be in the middle of nowhere. Good morning, everybody. This is Michael Nelson in the center of nowhere, Kentucky. Got my big hacienda. Got me a house. Oh yeah, a couple of donkeys, piggies, and chickens. And a cow. I bet you New Zealand costs a lot for a house. I know it does in Australia. I don't know what it is, but foreign countries ain't cheap unless you go to the Philippines or Thailand. Yeah, see, the only way that would pay off is if you got enough money. But then if you're too old and you're too far, that could be a problem too, because if you need EMS or something, sucks to be you. Y'all ever see that PBS special years ago on that old man that literally made himself a log cabin, cut down the trees, and built from the ground up a log cabin and lived way out there in Alaska? That was an awesome program. The guy was older than me when he started doing that. Older than me. Unbelievable. And using an axe and a handsaw. Now remember, he was saying, I had to be careful. One wrong slip with the axe, cut my limb, and there's no way out of here. You get a float plane come in once a month to, bring supplies. You're right, Okie, but it beats having an apartment at $15,000 a month with noisy neighbors, arguing, humping, and flushing the toilet, and their yappity dogs. There's a freedom that does come with home ownership. I can be myself in here. I don't have to tone it down because I got a cheap wall and the neighbor might hear me. Yeah, Cheryl, that guy was awesome. His house is now a museum owned by the state. There's a woman that lived in the Boundary Waters canoe area. Nobody can own that. But she had property before it was the BWCA. Old woman, she boated to get to town. And nobody messed with her. She was a tough woman that lived out there. Minnesota Northwoods. I'm being funny, Colette. I was being tongue-in-cheek, but Here in Augusta, $1,200. $1,200 in Shitville. High crime, racial tension. Yeah, it's a lot of money here. And it ain't right. You have no ocean. Augusta's not a desirable place for most people. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap this up, put a bow on it. Thanks for coming. We had a fun live stream. We only went on for what? Almost 200 minutes. Wow. Georgia. I ended up here because I had a black friend in Denver, and she moved out here, and I didn't know she left, and she called me in the spring. Things were changing where I was at in Colorado. I made a commitment to make sure that the lady of the couple, he died in 15 or 16 due to pancreatic cancer. She started turning for the worse in the spring, and I was like, Lord, I really need a direction to go because it's not going to be long and I'm going to be leaving this place. And when they made a decision to put her in the nursing home in like June, I stayed there for a couple months. Then she was diagnosed with pancreatic, and the family asked if I could stay till August. And August 4th, he came down August 3rd, August 4th, I left. And cruised on out of town at 2 o'clock in the morning. Drove 800 miles that day. I was so happy to get the hell out of there. All the way to Shawnee, Oklahoma. It's my little special spot. Robin had called me. She bought a place for $21,000. But her neighborhood is literally less than about a mile away. And it's cops, and more cops. I rented it from her for 3 months and watched drug deals going on right out the window. I said, wow, they just don't even hide it over here, do they? A bunch of bums. And I almost bought a house 3 doors down from her, and I'm glad I didn't. That neighborhood is gunshots. I kept hearing gunshots. I wake up at 2 in the morning over there, get on the internet, go to work to drive the bus, and I hear gunshots. Constantly heard guns fired in that neighborhood. Over here, it's way better. But she told me, you ought to come out to Georgia. The houses are cheap. She told me, and I thought, you lying to me. $21,000 for a house? I looked online. I was shocked. So, well, I'm going to Georgia. I mean, that was the determining. I can afford to own and buy a home. I'm going. That's it. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what it's going to be like. I know very little about it. I'm going. And 6 years later, I got me a MIC education on Georgia. It has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. My living is cheap. I'm able to make it and save. And there's things I don't like. I don't like the racial bullshit down here and the racial favoritism towards that one race. I do not like the heat of the summers. It's just relentless and it's awful. It's sticky wet. You're just dripping wet all day. I don't like that. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. And I better get out of here. Hello, Antifa Quifa. Sorry, but I'm splitting out. But you can watch it when it uploads. It was a good one, I think. We had a good conversation. You guys all have a good one, and we will see you all later. Be safe. Keep it between the ditches. Check your headlamp and blinker fluid, please. Please signal. Not everybody knows what you're doing. Use your turn signals. Use some common sense on the road out there. Don't tailgate. You can't push somebody out of your way, so back off. Allow space cushion. Turn your radio down and enjoy your drive. Relax. It's just a drive. All right, folks. Till next time, rubber side down and stick on the ice. Yes, Sandy, Nice to talk to you all.